Ladies and gentlemen, let me very warm welcome to Professor A.K. Enamul Haq. Due to traffic issues in the city, he has been arrived in a little bit late, but I want to begin right now Middle East issue with Professor Enamul Haq. You know, the killing of 5 Al Jazeera journalists in Gaza has intensified criticism of Israel's military actions. How might this incident affect international media freedoms and diplomatic pressure, process and progress?
Well, I think they are facing diplomatic pressure. We have seen even Australia today said that we are going to recognize the Palestinian country. So I think that pressure is mounting. But my question is, at what cost? If you look at the people of Gaza, if you look at the health of the children, that is reminds me of 1974 Bangladesh. If you think about the pictures, I still remember a month ago I was talking to my son and he was telling me the situation is grave, and I said I am still waiting for the pictures if it is so grave. Now the UN agencies have told everyone that this is coming, and it is now almost everyone who has human mind, they would pressurize their government. This is a man-made disaster, and it has happened because the whole world has been oblivious to the whole thing. They didn't want to talk about it, and I think it is time for the whole world to come and discuss these issues seriously. But again, I think Israel is under, this is an issue that I believe, and I don't know what others will think. My logic is, when you look at the governance of Israel, it's a country run by, you say coalition, but it's a coalition of proportional representation, and that itself is a killer, because there are 1 or 2 MP who is actually designing the whole thing. In other words, Netanyahu previously, whatever he was thinking, his 2 or 3 thin majority, the group of people who are giving him conditions what to do. And I think that also tells us about the whole system itself, because this is why they could not have a stable government. It is not true that as Israelis themselves are not discussing it. They are discussing it, but it's not getting through because of the PR system they have been following. So I would say it's a failure of all. I'm pretty sure there's even the Jewish community in the United States are pressuring now. They said this is not fair. And I think as a war, even though this is big suffering for the Gaza people, but it has raised voices, and I really feel sorry for all these children who are suffering there.
Sir, before I go to Professor Imtiaz, I want to do one more question to you. General Benny Gantz, opposition leader in Israel, he is always a very high-level critic of Benjamin Netanyahu. Recently, he has given an interview at ILTV, Israel television, national television. He said, this is the last time of Benjamin Netanyahu's rule, but he is creating enemies around the world, that one day the Jewish will have no friend, because the ruler in Washington will change, policy will change. Do you think that one day American policy will be changed for Israel?
I don't think that will happen, my own feeling, because if you look at, it's not Israeli policy, it's a American policy in the Middle East. They want their foothold, and their foothold in any other country are not firm. They could change any day. So I think Americans, obviously Trump has his own view, but American deep state would not abandon Israel. They will stay with Israel. Obviously they are embarrassed. Obviously there are own people who are, but the questioning is going to raise issues that probably Israel has never faced before. So I would say that way, that yes, Israel, before giving help to Israel, they will ask questions. I'm pretty sure that will happen. But deep state in the US will stay in favor of Jewish state.
I understand, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, let us come back to the studio again with Shamsul Alam Panto, our international affairs commentator. Is there any other big issues you want to pick for the rest of the time for discussion in the studio, because we have 2 very prominent, distinguished panelists today?
Well, I would understand that the biggest issue of this entire month and by far now would be the Israeli aggression towards Gaza. And I have some names that I want to point out. There's Smotrich, there's Israel Katz, there's Ben Gavir, alongside Benjamin Netanyahu. So the names I've mentioned, these are the people who are going to make a dark history for the citizens of Israel. Why I say this is because they had to face a 12-day war with Iran. These are citizens who are hidden inside bunkers, and I'm sure they didn't want such an escalation in this year of 2025. Let me just add on here that British Jews have signed an open letter to PM Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper that the group Palestine Action is not a terrorist group, and that they only are there in the support of Palestinians. So this creates a new history, a new line of support from Jews who are not in Israel but across in Britain, who also condemn this aggression from the current administration of Israel into Gaza. And last night I was seeing Al Jazeera Arabic. Every one of the news editors and entire staff came out in mourning of the killing of Anas al-Sharif, who was situated right outside the hospital, the famous hospital in Gaza, and he was his life across along with another 4 lives had been taken by an Israeli air missile strike. So this has the entire journalistic community across the globe moved by such aggression.
Right, sir. This made the entire media world, entire news world very sad. Yesterday will be remarkable in the history. Sir, I want to understand one thing. Palestine, we always call free Palestine. But the land of Palestine, we understand, under the leadership of PLO, I mean Mahmoud Abbas, has not been attacked this time. I mean these 2-3 years after 7 October, all happenings in Gaza, and Palestine officially did not do anything for saving Gaza or did not start any negotiation for Gaza. So should we call it a Palestine and Gaza is a different entity?
Politically, yes, they are almost two different entities, because the political division within Palestinian people is also very important. Gaza is is morally Hamas running the whole thing, and the Israeli strategy was to divide them. It has been successful. Successful in the sense they showed Gaza as separate than Palestinians. So the whole world is also not saying it's a Palestinian fight, it's a Gaza fight. So you can see the strategic decision was there to separate Gaza. I think Gaza is also the corridor for linking with the Middle East, with the Egyptians, so that's another one. So politically they wanted this to happen. That is number one. I think at one point, if I'm not wrong, President Trump also wanted Gaza real estate development. If that was an interesting news came out, I'm not sure how much it is true. So Gaza has its own interest. On the top of it, I don't know whether I'm correct or not, there has been a alternative to Suez Canal, if you know the new route, trade route, and that is supposed to pass through north of Gaza. So if you want a safe route north of Gaza for a trade route alternative Suez Canal, then Gaza itself needs to be controlled. So for me to say which one is correct is very difficult, but I can see many elements. Those elements, the corridor that, I think that was the corridor India was proposing. India was part of this corridor so that they can pass their trading route without touching Suez Canal, because Suez Canal is under different turmoil, is also congestion there. So that was something that I thought that is worth looking at it, because it's just passing through north of Gaza, and they wanted a safe route, and Gaza is I would say the black point on this whole route. So that could be another reason why they have done it specifically. Surprising for me that the Palestinian in the West Bank, they did oppose. It's not that they were liking it, but the government did not do it, and probably this is where things will go, in a different way. In other words, people will account their own government at one point. But it's not true that they did not talk about it. They did talk about it, they did not participate in anything, probably to safeguard their own people. But that means they are thinking Gaza is separate than Palestinian, which is not supposed to happen.
So Israel took the opportunity of divide and rule. Sir, I just framed a question for Dr. Enamul Haq. Do you really believe that American dominance or American supremacy on world economy and world politics will be as it is we are seeing today?
It is changing. It is changing, but you have to understand America is a superpower. There is no other economy except China close to it. So, and the problem with the Chinese economy is a big economy, but it's a weak economy in the sense too many population. If you look about the average income is 1/10 of American. So, if you look at the American income versus Chinese income, it's a rich country, but 1/10. So, and with such a large population, they cannot involve in politics the way Americans can. So, that's a disadvantage for them. At the moment, I don't see a big change coming, but in any transition, it's a fight. Is that Americans will try to put up their faces and say, this is what we want, and others will also. Now, Chinese is not going to lead the way we expect Chinese. My feeling is that they're not going to lead the world. They're going to wait for others to come out. Either it has to be collective lead by Chinese, Russian, and probably Indian, if they can do it. Otherwise, one country cannot challenge America. It's a big country. And remember, it doesn't matter how we define it, Western world is defined by the American dominance. So my feeling as an economist, academic, I would say this is a transition started. Whether it will be successful or not, that depends on how the rest of the world react to it. And it's not easy. America is going to pull plugs from everywhere. It's a powerful economy.
Right, sir.
And that is an issue that I think.
Right, sir. I will have one question to you and Imtiaz, sir, but I need a short answer because we are running out of time. You know, world politics, every day one person is becoming the top headlines. This is Donald Trump. He is controlling or molding the world politics, world economics. His also approval rate is getting down, and it is 33 this morning. Do you think he can control his position among the American people for the next 3.5 years?
He is granted this position of the POTUS because of the people's mandate, and I believe that he must consider what the American households want before understanding what all the major other nations in the world may be asking from his seat. But of course, as you said, his approval ratings are taking a slump, and I believe that he should once again understand his own citizens of America who have placed him on the seat of President of the United States.
Sir, I want your last comment on this question.
I think Donald Trump is desperately trying to lose the midterm election. Because if he loses the midterm election, he can say, look, I'm trying, but the House of Rep is not allowing me, the Senate is not allowing me, but I'm trying. So you see, over the years, I said, I have seen this. But what I think is very important, we are moving into a multipolar world. And this is because of the human aspirations. It has less to do with China, India, Brazil. It has to do with human aspirations. Look at the human aspirations of Bangladeshis. It's high. Look at the human aspiration 10 years back and look at the human aspirations of Bangladesh now. Unthinkable, isn't it? So, the world is moving to a multipolar world. What United States needs to happen is the US needs to become a normal state. It's not a normal state, okay? Yes, one can call it superpower and what, so it's a normal state. It needs to become like Spain. Look, Spain was a huge empire. Don't forget, Spain's empire was too big to handle. Look at Spain now. Look at Portuguese. Wow, what a superb empire Portuguese had. Whole of Brazil was under them, isn't it? So my point is, they need to become normal state like Spain and Portugal. Now, whether the Americans and whether the Western world is ready intellectually, the mindset, that I think is the issue. At this stage, they are not. And that's the reason one philosopher said, when you have this transformation, the old world goes away and the new world is yet to become, the monsters come to play. What we now are witnessing, the monsters are playing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I really enjoyed the show today because I have the panelists like Dr. Enamul Haq and Professor Imtiaz, along with Norman and Shamsul Alam Pantho. It was a great discussion. I believe you enjoyed. Thank you for watching SATV's International Affairs show. I'll see you tomorrow.